Hello, my name is Mark Rubio, and I will be discussing about a character from the Silent Planet by C.S. Lewis. The character I chose is Devine, and he's not really a main character, but he's a supporting character, but he's still pretty important. He really isn't in most of the middle parts of the book. He appears in the beginning, a little bit in the, probably like a little bit in the middle, but mostly at the beginning and the end. So anyway, he's a Ransom finds him when he's looking for that lady's son in the house, and when he breaks in, he finds Weston and Devine, and Devine recognizes Ransom, and because they both went to the same university together, I think for grad school, and apparently they weren't really friends, and Ransom actually disliked them, as can be seen in page 14 of the book, about towards the end of the page, where he says, "Of course I should think I do," said Ransom as the two men shook hands with a rather labored cordiality which is traditional in such meetings. In actual fact, Ransom had disliked Devine at school as much as anyone he could remember. So they both went to school together, and Ransom just really didn't like him. But Devine ends up bringing him in for some food, offers him a place to stay, when really this is the beginning of the plot, when they take him over to Malacandra, or put him on the spaceship, drug him, put him on there. And, Devine thinks, and this part is shown that Devine thinks very highly of Weston, who's like a very accomplished physicist. And he even talks highly of Ransom when he's a great philologist as well. But later in the story, they drug him and they put him in a spaceship, and throughout it seems like Weston's kind of the mastermind behind all this, and Devine's just in it for the money or something, but he's not. He didn't seem to be as bad of a person as Weston throughout the story. And this can be seen while they're in the spaceship, when Ransom's kind of panicking around, asking questions, wondering what they're doing, and Devine seems to kind of be more friendly towards him, while Weston seems more cold and just distant. But Devine throughout it, kind of talks to him, tells him what's happening, lets him in on everything. And eventually, when they actually get to the place at Malacandra, they land, and they both were trying to give him up to the Sorn, who they thought they needed to sacrifice someone, so that's why they were bringing someone. And yeah, so Devine, I guess, was kind of evil at the same time, but I really don't think that he as bad natured as a person as Weston is. He's kind of just like there, not really running anything, just kind of just like a henchman to Weston. And eventually Ransom escapes and everything, meets the Hurrah side. And the next time you see him, after Ransom gets away from them, they are in on their way, or hunting or whatever, for that animal. And Ransom and Hugh are walking around, and Weston and Devine shoot Hugh and kill him. So that really angered Ransom, and went from disliking them to dislike him even more. because he already didn't like him in the beginning. So then after that, you don't even see much of Devine at that part. They just say they shot him. He already died, and then Ransom left to go to the Yarsa. Next time you see Weston and Devine is when Ransom finally gets to Yarsa, starts talking to him, asking him questions, and then they bring out Weston and Devine. And Weston throughout the thing is kind of condescending, kind of mean to Yarsa, kind of like acting like he's a witch doctor, that he's not like a really, the all-knowing Oyarsa, and he has a hard time believing it. So he's just kind of, being condescending, being like, oh, trying to talk to him slow. And Ransom's trying to calm him down and tell him, no, this is actually him. And Devine actually seems to show remorse at this point, which is more than Weston shows, because Weston really shows no remorse. And Devine, this is when he starts to be an actual human being once again. And compared to Weston, he just looks like a good person at this point. And he even, page 133, he even kind of joins Ransom's kind of going native, and he says when Weston's like talking to him, saying, I know you're gonna kill us, I'm not afraid, everything, trying to act tough, trying to show that he's trying to be like the more superior person in this, trying to gain a higher footing, but he really has nothing to stand on. But Devine, in page 133 it says, but Devine had jumped to his feet and interrupted him. No, Yarse shouted, listen to him. He very foolish man, he have dreams. We little people only want pretty sunbloods. You give us plenty sunbloods, we go back in the sky. You never see us no more. All done, see. And
let's see when you guys cover page.
And this part,
should I send it to Rubio or you?
This shows that he's like trying to, what he's really there for, which is for the sun drops, to get the money. And he's still trying to get that, but he's also at the same time not really willing to, do anything crazy. He doesn't want to hurt anyone. However, Weston still is trying to, be the bigger man and just, for science or just controlling them, whatever he wants to do. And once again, like, Devine is just being being a human being. He wants money. He's not like a kidnapper kind of guy. He's a henchman, but at the same time, he's just there trying to get money, trying to get the sun drops. And in the end, they end up going back to, Oyarsa tells them to just go back, never come back. But Ransom's welcome back, Weston and Devine aren't. So he sends them back with just enough air to make it back. And they actually get pulled in some sort of gravity thing out. Not really sure like what happened specifically scientifically, but they are going back to Earth, and around the moon they get kind of sidetracked, and they only have enough air. So Weston breaks down and starts crying, and then Devine kind of takes charge, and he's like, alright, he tries to do all he can, and him and Ransom are just there trying to get the ship back to Earth. And Devine kind of takes charge. This is the first time he really just takes charge, tries to become a leader. And here's an example on page 148. Ransom and Devine exchanged glances. They bundled Weston out of his seat. He was crying like a child, and Devine took his place. And now at last Random understood the mystery of the bulging earth. What appears bulge on the side of one disc was becoming increasingly distinct on a second disc. A disc almost as large as appearance in his own. Devine, Ransom did not know what fate this might mean for the spaceship. Devine obviously did, and never had he appeared so admirable. His face was as pale as Weston, but his eyes were clear and preternaturally bright. He sat crouched over the controls like an animal about to spring, and he was whistling very softly between his teeth. And this is when he sort of saves him. And it kind of shows that he's not just a stupid henchman, and he really does have some sort of worth, even though he is a scientist. But really, the way that C.S. Lewis kind of shows him is like some sort of henchman, when really he's just like a smart guy trying to make some money, trying to make a quick buck, and clearly doesn't have as big as ambitions as Weston, kind of go over there and start some new life, find a new place to live. And overall, Weston, while his intentions aren't that good, he's still one of the more humanistic characters on there, because he has the good and the bad. He has the bad intentions, but he does, he makes up for it sometimes. He's not crazy, not that power hungry, and he ends up just going back. He's happy to be back, and that's pretty much it. He's an important part of the plot, and even though he's not in the story too much, he's definitely gets the plot going, and even finishes the plot when he helps to land the ship back on Earth. And that is it.